Welcome to the Collaborative. I'm Sydnee Walker, along with my co-host Ryan Ballis. Today we have Jay Clay joining us. He's a graphic designer for Turner Sports, which includes creating work for NBA TV and NBA on TNT Social. Previously, he was director of graphic design for the UCONN Huskies. His work focuses on creating media and branding content for collegiate and professional teams and organizations. So thank you for your time today.
Absolutely.
We're going to get started with a few rounds of this or that. So first up, Waffle House or IHOP?
Waffle House for sure.
I agree. I like Waffle House. Hip hop or R&B?
Hip hop.
Lenox Mall or Perimeter Mall?
Linux.
And lastly, the most important one, Zaxby's or Chick-fil-A?
Oh, man. Man, that's tough. It's really wrong to ask me that. I think I'm going to have to go with Chick-fil-A just because of they have a variety of food. I think I only get the same thing when I go to Zaxby's, but I can get a lot from Chick-fil-A.
I agree. Chick-fil-A is my favorite.
I can respect the decision. So, Jay, what's your first recollection of having sports in your life? Whether it was a game or a game on TV or having actually played sports as a child. What was your first memory of that?
Yeah, so it's funny. I was never the one to put myself into sports. My sister was a gymnast when I was little, and I'd sit through her practices for hours. And my mom realized you're kind of bored, so she put me in soccer. So soccer was my first sport, and I really loved that sport. I played it for 3 years, and then that progressed to t-ball and then football, which I really fell in love with. And I've been playing that since I was 7 years old. That's how I met my best friend. But yeah, that's my earliest, recollection of sports in general was gymnastics for the most part.
Nice. That's not usually something common you'd hear, I'd say, when people talk about their first sport. So that's really awesome.
So how did you kind of make your transition into the collegiate and professional world of sport?
Yeah, so I think it was maybe 9th grade or 10th grade when my best friend and I made an Instagram page, just making sports edits on our phones, nothing too serious. We did it for fun. He got bored, and I quickly it was fun for me. And Patrick Perella, who's honestly, he's the reason I'm designing. He had Photoshop, and I invested in Photoshop and started getting better and better and better. And then I realized you could, profit off of your work. And I think Texas A&M was the first college to reach out to me for recruiting. That never fell through, but that showed me that, hey, the college likes my work. I have potential to be able to work for, colleges and sports teams. But there was never really a specific time where I was I want to work for college or I want to work for the NFL. It's I want to work. So the jump to UConn it was almost just I'll take it, So I wasn't really looking for it, but it presented itself and I took the chance on it.
Yeah, that's great. And you mentioned your time at UConn, and the women's basketball team has been one of the most dominant teams in the country for a while now. What was the experience like creating work for a team of such high caliber?
Yeah, it was really cool. I think I wasn't a big basketball person prior to really designing in general. I think designing forced me to learn about basketball, and through that I learned about UConn's women's basketball team, just the legends they have coming out of there. So getting an email from their men's basketball team is how it started. I was doing freelance for their men's. It was still a shock for me. I was that's pretty cool. That's a top school for basketball. But working there, man, it's well, I don't know how to explain it. It's yeah, so I don't think I was starstruck, but I was definitely soaking it all in that, a lot of great people passed through here, and just that what I was able to do, make content for their teams and send out things for the recruiting and future, women's basketball Huskies. I was definitely soaking it up, and I realized, the position I was in definitely felt pretty cool.
Yeah, it's definitely a great spot to get started off at.
For sure.
Jay, what do you find most interesting about graphic design as opposed to other traditional media like PR or broadcast?
Yeah, I think with art in general, I think you can always put your own twist to it, and you're kind of like you're visually speaking for people who aren't able to do that, you know. And I think I always say with any university or with any organization that's trying to get the attention of people, um, artwork is the number one way to do it, especially with people's attention span these days. No one's going to sit and listen to a video of someone talking. No one's going to do all that. Um, but with art, if you're scrolling through Instagram, if you're walking past or you're driving and you see a billboard, that'll instantly catch your attention. So I think it's pretty cool that what I do just from my desk and my computer reaches a lot of people without having to actually speak, you know? So I find the joy in that part of it. You know?
And then on top of that, where do you find a lot of the gratification coming? Is it when, the graphic gets thrown up on Twitter and everyone loves it? Is it when you send the recruit their packet or an edit and they love it? Where does that gratification come from with being more on like an art-based side of media?
Um, I don't know. I think when I make a piece that I feel is good, I think I get my own sense of gratification, you know, but I think when other people accept it or are enjoying it, you know, that's even better. I think the best thing is when your art literally impacts, you know, someone else. Like you can see that like they'll like when people DM me like, hey, like man, like you really inspired me to do this and do that. I think that's the best thing. Not necessarily when they post it or repost. I think it's when people come to me and say, hey, like you inspire me, and this is what I want to do. Like that's the best feeling I can have for sure.
Sure. Awesome. That's really great.
And after looking through your social media, you had some work that reflected hip hop albums such as Trey Young depicted in Young Thug's slime language and D'Angelo Russell depicted in Jay-Z. How do you view the crossover between sports and entertainment as more athletes showcase their interest in music?
Yeah, I think it's really cool actually. I had always stuck to sports, and like that was my main focus. And I think when you blend that sports, you know, pop culture kind of feel, people really enjoy that. I personally enjoyed it as I've been doing it. But yeah, I think Atlanta, the Trey Young theme, you know, he's from Atlanta with the Young Thug. Then D'Angelo was in Brooklyn, so Jay-Z. But I mean, I enjoy it. It's the music I listen to. Um, yeah, I just like putting my little spin on it, mashing them up.
Yeah, that was really cool.
And then again, how do you separate yourself with your work from others in the world of sports design?
Yeah. So I think when we were starting out, uh, I think you pulled from other people's work. It was visible, you know, it's pretty obvious that you were kind of pulling and copying in a sense, or you were inspired. I think now it's almost putting a twist on what you see.
Mhm.
I heard somewhere that art is recycled. Like you'll see art from the 14th century that is kind of that style is still being used today. So
Mhm.
I think what I do to different or separate myself from other artists is kind of making abstractly unique things. I think that's why I struggle personally to like sit down and make something every day is because I try and make it crazily unique. You know, I try to make it different from what anyone's ever seen. But I do try my best to do that. But in the end, I think everyone still kind of follows this line, almost like pop culture and fashion. I think it progresses over time. You
All
go
comes
back
back
to
on itself.
exactly. So I think that's how that works.
What advice do you have for young creatives as they navigate their way through their careers?
I think a lot of people kind of lose hope as far as design goes. They think that you see work by other people and you think there's no way. I'm not even reaching there yet. Like I won't get there. I think it's just like anything. Practice makes perfect, and practice you improve. There was a point where I literally like uninstalled Photoshop. I think that's happened a couple of times. Like I just closed my computer. Like it gets frustrating, but I think when you consistently try and consistently make content, the progress is going to show. And if you're ever caught up, if you're ever stuck, it's never like always reach out. Like this community is honestly the nicest community you'll ever run across, and people have been so helpful to me. And I try my best to, try and give out resources and backgrounds and textures when I can, and maybe PSDs when I can. But I think just it's okay to fail, and it's okay to learn from your mistakes, and it's okay to go through the trial and error process. It's fun. That's the fun of it. Art. It's no one has to understand art, but you. You can understand your own artwork. Don't feel like you're being judged for creating something totally despicable or weird. But it's your artwork. That's the fun of it. Don't get so caught up
Yeah,
in the side.
Sure.
yeah, neat perspective. Thank you.
Well, thank you for joining us. We're looking forward to seeing more of your work as always. And yeah, thanks for stopping by. Really appreciate it.
Absolutely. Thank you for having me.